What's up, YouTube? Today we're talking about vehicle checkpoints. First and foremost, a disclaimer. I'm not telling you to do this or when you should do this into the future. I'm just telling you how this can be done effectively. Historically speaking, for the civilian context, this could be applied during intense rioting situations such as the Summer of Love in 2020 or the LA riots in the past, right? Essentially, people are already doing this. People are trying to protect their businesses, their homes, their neighborhoods, their apartment complexes. And one of the main things they need to do is create a defensive posture in those main roadways. And so I'm going to teach you how to do that today. That's a vehicle checkpoint. In the military, you can do this offensively if you want to control a main avenue that people drive down, a main roadway, and check every vehicle, whether that's because you're looking for somebody or something, MET-TC situation dependent. But for the civilian application, we're going to be assuming this is from a defensive posture. Now, why would we do a vehicle checkpoint as opposed to just a roadblock? Well, we want to allow the flow of traffic, right? In a with rule of law scenario, we want to allow fire and emergency services and police vehicles to travel through the avenue while we still maintain a defensive posture against possible threats. And in a crazy apocalyptic, the end of the world scenario, we're going to still need to transport ourselves and people and supplies to and from wherever this avenue is that we are guarding. So we can't just blow the road up or permanently affix spikes into the ground or something like that. We still need to be able to utilize this roadway while we also need to control it. Wonderful. So how are we going to do that? You need a serpentine. You need to establish a serpentine, right? Your serpentine needs to be 3 rows deep, and it needs to go 50% or more into the road, right? So this serpentine here, and this needs to be constructed, we'll get onto that in a second, out of materials that will prevent a vehicle from traveling or will fuck up a vehicle if it travels over it, right? So this is going to force any car that comes is going to have to slow way down to do an S pattern. It doesn't matter what angle they take, they're going to have to do an S pattern, right? If we were to delete one of these pillars, one of these serpentine rows, then a car could come at an extreme angle through like that. So we need to establish multiple serpentines to prevent that from happening. Da 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 da. All right. What you construct these serpentine barriers out of is going to be very situationally dependent. The easy answer is just to park one vehicle perpendicular in the road for each one. Okay. What would be more effective is to park 2 or 3 vehicles shoulder to shoulder like that. For each of your levels, right? And then another one here. Okay. If you have 9 vehicles to do this, to make it the most effective, you're going to want to utilize your brake, put it in your emergency brake down, turn your steering wheels right, turn your steering wheels this way so that your back tires are faced into the rest of the cars. So if you do get something that rams you from the front, the cars are going to come into each other and help support a wedge in that position rather than flow straight back. As well as you want to chalk these tires, use some sort of a blockage, just put a 2x4 underneath those tires, right? Same for each level. Maybe you don't have any spare vehicles. Maybe you use some sort of obstacles in the road. Maybe you place cinder blocks standing tall 8 inches apart, right? a vehicle could run those over, but it's going to likely damage the vehicle and make it inoperable if it was to just try to blow through all of that. So that's, you know, whatever. Situation dependent, MET TC. Be a smarty pants boy, use your big brain, figure it out. However we do it, we create a serpentine with at least 3 rows. We can always overachieve if we want. We want to have some standoff between where vehicles would begin to approach us and the beginning of our serpentine. Okay, again, that's going to be another MET TC depending on your terrain, your situation, whatever the case is, right? If I'm defending a suburb in this situation and I have homes here, right, all these are homes, well, I don't want to be 5 houses back and I'm not protecting these homes. My barrier isn't defending my neighbors like I want it to. But also, I can't be right up here because I need to give the vehicles time when they turn to come my direction. They need to identify that there's a serpentine, that there's a checkpoint. They need to slow down, right? They have to have time to register that, see it, and then act accordingly with it. Wonderful. All right. As you're probably already thinking, but people could just drive through the yard. Yes, absolutely correct. So if to the left, to the right, and to the left of your avenue that you're guarding, a vehicle could drive on it, any reasonable vehicle could drive on it, you have to do something, right? Because the yards are not where vehicles are supposed to go, we can be more lenient on using obstacles, booby traps, spike strips, things of that nature in the yards, because those aren't the roads, to prevent vehicles from going on them, right? We're just trying to funnel everybody onto the road. We don't have to necessarily build a massive impenetrable wall here. We just have to do something that makes a vehicle not want to go there, right? It could be strands of barbed wire, it could be C-wire, could be just a car is parked here, right? Or a couple cars parked here in a way that makes them want to travel on the road. Get creative, people. All right, so we have some sort of obstacles that funnel everybody into the road. We have our 3 layers of our serpentine. Now we need to establish some actual firing positions that are going to cover us, right? We want to have a firing position that is 90 degrees from the serpentine, okay? That way everybody that's interacting with this will get into all these other jobs, right? Everybody that's out here, if anything happens, they just either come back or they come towards the direction of the cover position, and that allows the cover position to fully engage down the entire length of the serpentine, which has now in this scenario turned into a kill zone. And we can have complete coverage of the side. And this angle of fire allows all of our team members to be safe, and nobody is going to be shooting into each other. All right. We also need to be posting signage, right? Some signage probably up here, right, when people come to turn. Stop, slow, be aware. Signage here on each of the serpentines, especially this one up front here. Stop, slow, be aware, slow down. Caution, right? Something like that. In a combat environment, you're going to want to stop the vehicle. So vehicle's going to come. You're going to want to see it stop here, and then you can send a personnel up to it to interact with it, okay? I think, however, MET TC, use your brain, be smart. I think, however, in a civilian context, we're going to probably want somebody up front of the serpentine. So, an actual person that can actually communicate, wave at the drivers, talk to them, tell them to lower their windows, whatever the case is, figure out what's going on with them. Instruct them how they need to go through the serpentine and be safe. Right, this person needs to look friendly. Probably doesn't even have a rifle. If he does have a rifle, it's slung behind his back. Best case scenario, he's just concealed carry. He looks very friendly. He's your neighbor Bob trying to help you out. So that way, the first person a car sees looks like a friendly person, not a Delta Navy SEAL assassin, right? We're trying to avoid fights, not start fights. Great. Obviously, we're going to have a cover team. Most likely, you're probably just going to park a vehicle here unless there's some piece of train or something, whatever, Met TC that allows, right? Since we don't have machine guns, we're probably going to want multiple people, 3 or 4 people, having the role of covering with fire the serpentine should a vehicle try to blow through, okay? We're going to have people, a team of people on standby back here that can deal with humans that are walking through, trying to walk through all of our obstacles through the yard, squeaking through these houses or whatever the case is. They can be like, hey, bro, what are you doing? Deal with them. These guys are probably going to need less than lethal, bear mace, something like that, right? Some ability to deal with pedestrians and deter them other than having to point a gun at them would be ideal. Wonderful. So we do have this team back here. All right. As well as, probably not likely for civilian context, but if for some reason you are checking vehicles or checking people in the vehicles, you're going to need a team of individuals to actually do that. So we might have a team of people back here to check the vehicle, right? Vehicle comes in, it stops, we communicate, hey, just chill out for a minute, it's all good. If we're going to have people come check it, they come check it. Probably not going to be a thing. These guys are dealing with onesies and twosies that are squeaking through, and we have this cover team on standby. Wonderful. So now we're going to talk about what are we going to do if a vehicle tries to blow through our checkpoint. All right. All right, so vehicle comes in. We see that it sees us. It shows no sign of slowing down. Immediately, whoever is our point of contact guy is going to bail, right? He's going to bail way out this way, or come run way straight back. Situation, everything dependent. But he knows that this is the kill zone, right? So he needs to clear out of that kill zone, and he needs to avoid this vehicle coming at him. All right, so he bails out of there. One of these guys that is in the cover team is probably going to be, his primary job is actually not going to be to shoot, it's going to be to use a warning indicator. Okay, that could be a flare, that could be perhaps a firework that you have manually shortened the fuse on, so as soon as you light it, it's going to start going off, so you have a lot more control over that time period. It might be a high-power flashlight or a laser. It could be actual warning shots. However, be advised, warning shots in a chaotic environment are likely going to be perceived by people that aren't aware of your plan as lethal shots and could cause them to return fire as well. So I would use that as a last resort. Cool, vehicle turns, it's not slowing. This guy bails out. This person immediately initiates a warning indicator. Warning indicator is flashed out. Vehicle continues not to slow. Vehicle hits first serpentine barrier, either evades it aggressively or makes contact with it. At that point, everybody is cleared hot to engage this vehicle lethally. We want to, the priorities of work are 1, the driver. We have small arms, probably 5.56 or less. It's not belt fed, it's not armor piercing, etc., etc., etc. The chances we're going to actually get an instant kill on that engine block is very low. The best way to get that vehicle to stop immediately is to incapacitate the driver. That should be the first thing you're aiming for. The second thing we're going to aim for are the tires. If we can hit the tires, it's going to make the vehicle probably act erratically and run off the road or come to a halt. That's great. If we have affected the driver and if we have affected the tires, we can then begin to engage the engine bay, okay? Likely, the damage we're going to do to the engine bay is just going to cause issues with compression systems, fuel systems, or cooling systems. So it will kill the engine 5 miles down the road when the vehicle is out of sight, not stop it in its tracks here in the Serpentine. As well as receiving all of this fire at the driver, the tire, and the engine, the vehicle is also going to be blowing through these serpentines, which are going to be barriers that are either tangling up the tires, causing the vehicle to high-low, or physically stopping the vehicle because it's smashing into too many barriers. All right? At any case, once your vehicle is stopped here, wherever it is, you're going to want to be very slow and cautious when approaching it, right? It could be a vehicle-borne IED, so we don't want to run up to it the moment that it comes to a grinding halt. Give it a couple moments. Make sure that there's no dead man switch that's about to be activated. Once you feel that that's not going to happen, you can have members of your personnel team walk up and clear the vehicle while members of the cover team search it. Okay, this guy is probably going to come back around and link up with whoever. Once the vehicle's been searched, it's not a bomb, everybody inside it is dead or detained, and everything is cool. We're going to move the vehicle off to wherever we need to do, reset our serpentine as best we can, and carry on with the day, right? There might be more of this to come. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Vehicle checkpoints operate on a principle that it's not a barrier, but it operates well because it doesn't allow free movement, right? It takes what would be a massive opening, right? This roadway, we could have a convoy of 50 vehicles fly into here at literally 40 to 60 miles an hour and flood into whatever this area is, the apartment complex, the Walmart parking lot, the subdivision, whatever, right? A massive crowd of people, a huge gaggle of people could all run into here. Multiple hundreds of people a second at a flow rate of hundreds of people per second could be flowing in to this area. However, if we just take some simple precautions and then we add some base levels of resistance to it, even though this isn't an impenetrable wall, these cars can't come in. The Russian convoy is going to come. The first couple vehicles are going to come to a grinding halt. The rest of them are going to stop and dismount up here. We can call up QRF that's going to come from the rest of the neighborhood or the apartment complex or whatever, and they can start to form a defensive line at the other end of the street and initiate contact with the enemy. In a riot situation, right, rather than all these people coming in here, they're going to come up in here. We're going to maybe do some warnings, fire some warning shots. Somebody gets bear maced, and they're going to say, yeah, fuck this. And they're just going to go down the highway and fuck with the next subdivision that doesn't have this situation in it. So that's how vehicle checkpoints work, and that's how I think they could apply to the civilian. All right, boys and girls, hop in the comment section, hop in the Discord. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you disagree, and keep crushing life.